I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten anyone. I didn't even send another email. I just showed up one Monday morning with 2 trucks, a sheriff, and a court order. And by lunchtime, a $30 million startup was sitting on the floor with laptops on their knees, staring at bare concrete where their office used to be. All because they refused to pay my invoice. You have to understand something about me before any of this makes sense. I'm not flashy. I don't posture. I don't bluff. My name is Martin Cole. I'm 58 years old. I've spent most of my adult life inside office buildings that never make it into magazines. Floors full of beige carpet, glass walls, humming server closets, and conference rooms where decisions that affect thousands of people get made over bad coffee. For 32 years, I was director of facilities and real estate for a national bank. I negotiated leases that ran longer than most marriages. I coordinated build-outs across 5 states. I learned which clauses mattered, which ones people skimmed, and which ones saved you when someone decided the rules didn't apply to them anymore. At 55, they offered me an early retirement package. Good money. Clean exit. I took it, and I started Cole Workplace Solutions. Just me, 3 employees, and a simple promise. Turnkey offices, done right, paid for on time. Nimbus Analytics was supposed to be my reward for doing everything right. They were a VC-backed software company, riding that dangerous line between next big thing and burning cash with confidence. 60 employees. Growing fast. Moving out of a WeWork into a full floor of their own. Amanda Rhodes, the COO, called me personally. She talked fast. MBA fast. Consulting fast. Every sentence sounded like it came from a slide deck. We need someone experienced, she said. Someone who can handle scale. What she meant was, someone old enough to know better and quiet enough not to argue. The contract was clean. $184,000 total. 40% deposit, paid. 40% due at substantial completion. 20% due within 5 business days of occupancy, or automatically once they started using the space. Standard. Fair. Written in plain English. There was also Clause 14b. I always read Clause 14b. 6 weeks before move-in, the floor looked like controlled chaos. Cabling hung from the ceiling in neat bundles. Carpet tiles were half-laid. 50% of the workstations were already installed, frames bolted, power feeds labeled. Boxes of ergonomic chairs sat shrink-wrapped near the windows. This was the expensive part. All my money was already out the door. Amanda called an operations sink at their WeWork. Small glass room. Whiteboard. Cold brew on tap. Present were Amanda, their CFO Ryan Chong, a young office manager named Chloe, and me. Amanda slid a thin packet across the table. Nimbus Vendor Payment Policy, updated Q4. I didn't touch it right away. I've learned that when someone hands you paper before explaining it, they're hoping you'll skim. She smiled. Tight. Polite. Just a formality, she said. Our investors like conservative cash management. I flipped the pages slowly. Net 90. Retroactive. For all vendors above $50,000. I looked up. Our agreement is net 10 after completion. Amanda leaned back. This is how high-growth companies operate. Ryan stared at his laptop. I tapped the page with my pen. This is a 3-month, interest-free loan from me to you. She smiled again. I'm sure a savvy business owner like you can adapt. And honestly, this is great exposure. Nimbus is going to be a big name. I underlined a line quietly. This policy shall not supersede or modify existing signed contracts without written amendment. I slid the packet back. Then it doesn't apply, I said. Amanda shrugged. We'll figure it out. On my way out, I heard her laugh with Chloe. He'll be fine, she said. Guys his age live for these projects. I didn't confront her. But that was the moment I tagged every single piece of furniture twice. The office reveal was beautiful. Glass doors with new signage. Edison bulbs over the kitchen island. 60 matching desks facing floor-to-ceiling windows. My work was everywhere. Amanda raised a glass. Huge thanks to our amazing interior designer, Lila Morales. Lila waved. She'd picked paint colors and wall art. And of course Chloe, for keeping the vendors in line. No mention of me. 2 engineers near the bar laughed. The old guy did all the work, one said, and the Instagram designer gets the credit. Classic Amanda. The Monday after, I sent the invoice. $73,600. Ryan replied, We've submitted your invoice into our system. There may be a short delay due to AP platform synchronization. Then came the delays. W-9 issues. Missing PO numbers. Bank details not logging. Meanwhile, they moved in. People sat at my desks every day. They ate lunch at my tables. They held meetings in rooms I built. The final 20% triggered automatically. They ignored it. When I showed up for a walkthrough, Amanda was too busy. Chloe read from a script. AWS and Salesforce are priority vendors. Amanda breezed past and tapped my shoulder. Relax, Martin. It's not like we're going anywhere. My loan payment cleared that same week. Barely. Incident C, the lie. 45 days after final invoice, I got the email. Subject, formal dispute notice. Defective work. Out-of-spec materials. Third-party inspection. All fiction. They forwarded it to the landlord. Claimed I damaged fire-rated walls. Then security blocked me from the floor. When I asked to inspect the defects, Amanda replied, "Take back your junk if you want it so badly." That was the sentence. The one that ended everything. I opened my contract. Clause 14b. And I started planning. I read that email 3 times. Not because I didn't understand it. Because I wanted to be absolutely sure she'd written what I thought she'd written. Take back your junk if you want it so badly. No lawyer. No hedging. No, without prejudice. Just frustration typed with thumbs and sent without thinking. People like Amanda always think power is loud. Threats. Pressure. Optics. Real power is paperwork. I didn't reply. That's important. For 30 years, I've watched people lose good cases because they had to have the last word. They send one more email. One more jab. One sentence too far. I closed my laptop and sat there in my truck, engine off, just listening to the ticking as it cooled. This wasn't about money anymore. They had lied about my work. They had tried to poison my relationship with a landlord who'd trusted me for a decade. They had blocked me from property I still legally owned. And they thought I'd fold. I went home, poured a coffee, and pulled the contract from my filing cabinet. The physical one, with tabs and handwritten notes in the margins. Clause 14b. I traced it with my finger, just like I had the day I signed it. Title remains with Cole Workplace Solutions until full and final payment. Client consents to peaceful entry for reclamation. They hadn't just defaulted. They'd invited me in. The first thing I did was stop being nice. No more calls. No more informal check-ins. No more chasing. Everything from that moment forward was documented, timed, and boring. I drafted a notice of default. 10 pages. Calm. Precise. Invoice numbers. Dates. Amounts. I quoted their own email back to them. Highlighted. Take back your junk. Send it certified mail. Return receipt. Copied their registered agent. Copied the property manager. Copied myself. Then I waited. 10 days. No payment. No apology. Just one email from Ryan. Our legal team is reviewing. We consider your threats baseless. That told me everything. They still thought this was theater. Next, I call my subcontractors. Electrician. Glass installer. Carpet guy. Good people. Small shops like mine. I'll buy your outstanding invoices, I told them. 90 cents on the dollar. You get paid this week. There was silence on the line. Then relief. I became the assignee of their claims. Filed a mechanic's lien against Nimbus's leasehold interest. Now their shiny office was radioactive. Then I walked into the courthouse with my binder and filed for a writ of replevin. The clerk barely looked up. Hearings Thursday. Nimbus didn't show. The judge did. He read. He nodded. He signed. Just like that, I had a court order saying what I already knew. Those desks weren't theirs. Daniel, the property manager, poured coffee and frowned as he read Nimbus's emails. They said you cut fire-rated walls, he said. I slid over the occupancy certificate. He sighed. That's a serious accusation. So is defamation, I said. I opened the building's operations manual to page 37. He didn't even argue. He signed the work order authorizing removal of vendor-owned fixtures. That was the last lock Nimbus thought they had. Execution day. Monday. 7 a.m. 2 trucks idled at the loading dock. My crew wore plain uniforms. No logos. No drama. The sheriff checked his clipboard. Ready when you are. The security guard nodded us through like we'd always belonged there. Daniel used his master key. The glass doors swung open. People stared. Movers worked quietly. Efficiently. No shouting. Desks came apart. Chairs stacked. Conference tables rolled. At 8:30, Amanda arrived. Her heels echoed across an empty reception area. What the hell is this? The sheriff stepped between us. She read the order. Her face drained. Ryan showed up, pale. "We thought you were bluffing," he whispered. I showed them clause 14b. "I'm just doing what you told me," I said, taking my junk. At 9 o'clock, the investors arrived. They stepped into chaos. One of them asked, "Why is there no table?" An engineer answered for me. "They didn't pay the guy who built the office." That was it. They wired the money 3 days later. Plus interest. Plus legal fees. Plus repossession costs. They sent a retraction to the landlord. Amanda stepped down. Ryan resigned. Nimbus bought cheap furniture to replace what I took back, or what I sold to another tenant who paid cash. As for me, I paid off my loan, gave my crew bonuses, and I stopped working with startups who thought contracts were suggestions. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just patience, paper, and showing up exactly when the rules say you're allowed to. Have you ever had someone try to stiff you because they thought you wouldn't fight back? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories where contracts beat arrogance, subscribe.